Not to get political or anything, but what the fuck is oatmeal? I don't keep up with the news. Quite frankly, I hate the news. Because the only thing they ever report is all these fucking disasters and tragedies. I just don't like being political. When I make political jokes and videos, I try to have them be so absurd that nobody in their right mind could take them seriously. Let me just say that if I have ever offended you, I apologize. That was not my intent. The reason I'm starting to question myself about this is because more and more I'm seeing ridiculous statements like the ones I use for comedy being used as legitimate arguments by actual fucking politicians.
Second, we must stop the glorification of violence in our society. This includes the gruesome and grisly video games that are now commonplace.
What? Is this 1993? Did Mortal Kombat just come out and we're all scared of our children ripping each other's heads off on the playground? I only know of one group of people so blind to the world to make an argument like this. Boomers. There is nobody else so ignorant to the way the world works. I mean, just try and imagine how much of society and culture would pass you by if you didn't know how to use the internet. Tragic in a way. But ignorance is no excuse for idiocy. The argument, video games are responsible for the increase in mass shootings, literally makes zero sense for so many different reasons. Video games are a culture-transcending, globe-spanning art form with billions of daily players from every walk of life you can imagine. If you argue that video games are the cause for psychotic levels of violence, then you would have to concede that almost half the world's population is a murderer in the making. And I don't mean to be all, oh, America's blah, 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 blah. All I'm trying to say is, if I was a statistician, I would have a hard time swallowing the correlation here. Okay, boomer. I hear your counter-argument. It's only the violent video games that they're talking about. So, video games have people shooting each other with guns. So that makes people shoot each other in real life. By that logic, the Saw franchise must have raised an entire generation of sadistic torturers. The 80s would have been overrun by an army of superpowered hockey mask wearing killers. But video games are different than movies because they're interactive. No, they're not. I don't care what you say. Anyone who has ever played a video game knows that experiencing violence in a game is no different than experiencing violence in a movie. It is a fact that when playing a game, such as Call of Duty, actually hurting people is not one of the attractions. People play those games because pressing buttons and moving sticks on a controller in reaction to the obstacles on screen is satisfying. It's the reason people like Mario just as much as they like GTA. Because the violence portion of a video game is purely aesthetic and is completely disconnected from the interactive portion. Call of Duty could be the exact same game, but with paintballs, and people would like the gameplay all the same. Technology has not advanced far enough that we can accurately simulate the feeling of firing a weapon. Who would ever look at a gamer? Cheeto dust on shirt, a perfect butt-shaped indent in the cushion, and think, yeah, this guy's basically a Navy SEAL. Video games are interactive experiences with violence as a visual addition. The same way horror movies are subversive dramas with gruesome deaths as visual entertainment. Well, a rational adult would be able to make that distinction, but think of the children! Really? Children? I thought we were talking about violent video games. You know, the ones that are already illegal for children to buy. There already exist legal bodies in all major territories to rate video games based on their content. Not only does this make it so children under the age of 18 cannot purchase a game with potentially sensitive content, but it also allows parents with kids to know exactly what each game contains. The ESRB even advertises itself as a tool for parents to use. Hell, the bullet points on the back of the box not detailed enough for you? I get it. Not willing to trust the ESRB because you blame them for the housing crisis of 2008? Weird, but I get it. Guess what? We live in 2019. Just make a post about it. There are thousands of gamers out there who would be willing to inform you about every detail you would like to know. Fuck, just go down to GameStop and ask the people there, they definitely know. There's no excuse for not knowing about the contents of a game before you buy it. If a child gets their hands on a violent video game, that's the parent's fault, not the game. I mean, come on. Give kids a little more credit. I'm sure any normal 13, 14-year-old is rational enough to play a bit of Battlefield without buying a gun the next day. Everything comes in moderation. Look, I'm not trying to say that kindergartners should be running around Switch in hand with a fresh copy of Doom Eternal each. Obviously, children should be barred from playing certain games. And obviously, it's very easy to lose yourself in a game and play far more than what is healthy. Games can stir up emotions that make you more aggressive in the moment. All the deterrents that video games have, I can see the same problems with TV or movies or Facebook, or what are we supposed to do, ban them all? Video games aren't perfect. But to turn a normal dude into a sadistic murderer, you must be out of your fucking mind.
The glorification of violence in our society.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to tending to my farm in Minecraft. Thinking of building an addition onto my home so I can have more dogs. God, I love video games!